Everybody that's just joining us, we're going to be starting in about a minute or so. Thank you for being with us. As everybody's been coming on, we'll be starting momentarily. Senator will be joining us shortly. Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Very pleased to have Senator Sinema joining us. But first off, I just want to welcome you. My name is Jaime Molera. I serve as the chairman of the Public Affairs Committee of the Greater Phoenix Chamber. So I'm honored to be your interviewer today. The Greater Phoenix Chamber is proud to present today's conversation, and we're doing it in partnership with the State Society of Arizona. For those of you who don't know, the State Society of Arizona is a nonprofit, nonpartisan social organization that serves Arizonans and friends of the Grand Canyon State and the National Capital Region by creating opportunities to network, as well as fostering a spirit of camaraderie amongst those who appreciate that all Arizona has to offer. We thank them for joining us today. And of course, we are very thrilled to have United States Senator Kyrsten Sinema joining us to share insights into some of the most pressing issues that your business needs to know. Senator, we want to thank you very, very much for your time today and of course for your ongoing commitment to Arizona's business community. So what I'll do is turn it over to the Senator to give us a quick update and then we'll dive into a few questions. So Senator, thank you very much again.
Well, thanks so much, Jaime, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to join you all today. I'm so sorry we can't be together in person yet, but I'm looking forward to that soon. You know, we all know this, that Arizona faces big challenges right now. Over the past year, everyday Arizona families, employers, and local leaders have all had to make tough choices, adapt, and contend with bureaucratic obstacles that delayed critical relief. Since the pandemic began, I've had regular calls with Arizona seniors, families, mayors, health providers, nonprofit leaders, and employers. Our conversations have helped shape policy solutions and informed how my team and I can help Arizonans access relief. But open and direct communication allows us to hear Arizonans' ideas and challenges, and most importantly, focus on our areas of common ground on which we can get things done. Now, I am still a member of the Senate's bipartisan group on COVID relief, and I worked with colleagues on both sides of the aisle to ensure that the new COVID law addressed Arizona's urgent needs, and I have some good stuff to report. The law speeds up vaccinations and expands resources for doctors and nurses across Arizona, including our rural communities. We extended unemployment insurance for Arizonans out of work. We had crucial support for employers and families. We have resources for Arizona schools to get kids back in the classroom. And we enhanced broadband internet access for families. I also included an amendment to help communities and NGOs in Southern Arizona effectively address the challenges of migrants crossing our border. And working closely with many of you, of course, we secured significant budget support for all Arizona cities, towns, and tribal governments to prevent cuts to local responders and essential services. But for our communities to fully bounce back, we have to do everything possible to save jobs and create more economic opportunities. So I worked with my colleagues to expand the employee retention tax credit and ensure that more employees in Arizona can stay on payroll. We also ensured that tourism and outdoor recreation businesses get the support they need to keep operating. And a few months after we passed our bill, the Save Our Stages Act, to help entertainment industry employers, I successfully got a bipartisan plan in the new bill called the Restaurant Rescue Plan. I introduced this with my friend Roger Wicker from Mississippi, and we created a $28.6 billion revitalization fund to help independent restaurants survive the pandemic. And this is important because restaurants fuel jobs across our state. And as we all know, these local restaurants are more than just brick and mortar. They're the gathering places that create a sense of community to bind our neighborhoods together. So our plan will get Arizonans back to work and ensure that local restaurants across Arizona can keep their doors open. And I know when our state fully recovers from this pandemic, Arizonans will be as excited as I am to get back to what we love, enjoying good food and good music with our friends and families. So we're already assisting Arizonans with accessing new support and ensuring that these resources are distributed quickly. And as we continue this economic recovery, I'll keep working with all of you and, of course, leaders across Arizona to communicate our state's priorities to the administration, including during the upcoming negotiations over infrastructure. Now, infrastructure investment, if done correctly, can immediately put people back to work, relieve the burden on our state unemployment system, and prepare our communities for future crises. So I'm focused on developing infrastructure legislation in a bipartisan way. As you all know, I say this all the time, working across party lines is the best way to achieve lasting results. And we saw some incredible work that has come from bipartisan policies to help boost Arizona jobs. Last year, we passed my bipartisan bill, the CHIPS for America Act. And of course, that led to Intel's recent announcement of a $20 billion expansion in Arizona. This is one of the largest investments in our state, and it'll translate to thousands of new jobs. And I'm proud that our success in passing the CHIPS for America Act paved the way for this expansion. And that's the path of bipartisan work forward. So I think we need a lot of elected leaders who are willing to venture out beyond the echo chambers of their own parties and who are willing to find common ground. Because it's really easy, and frankly, it's expected for elected people to just line up on either side of a partisan battle. It's a lot harder, though, to ignore the chaos and get out of our comfort zones to build coalitions to get things done. But my opinion is that approach delivers results. And that's why I will not wait on partisan dysfunction, and I will not be distracted by Washington's drama, and I'll just stay focused on delivering results for Arizona. So with that, Jamie, I'm happy to answer some questions that folks might have.
Well, Senator, thank you very much. Your optimism is very infectious, so I appreciate your willingness to do what's actually right for the state of Arizona rather than partisan politics. So can you just start off real quickly, just talking about the big picture? You know, what do you see as the biggest maybe challenges you're seeing in this Congress and possibly some of the opportunities also?
Well, I think the biggest challenge facing Congress is whether or not it's going to decide to work again, because it has been sidelined by intense partisanship, and that is on both sides of the aisle. And that is hampering the work of our country. So I want to begin to mend some of those tears, right, in this fabric of our country and bring people back together as a people who are united in love of country, love of the Constitution, and love and commitment to freedom and opportunity. The reality is, and time has told this many times, we have to work together in a bipartisan way to solve the issues that matter most to everyday Americans. And I believe we cannot accept a new standard where important legislation only passes on a party line vote. If you do accept that as the standard, you're setting the stage for permanent partisan dysfunction. You're deepening the divisions between people, and you're furthering eroding the confidence that Americans have in their government. And so I guess the optimism I have is that I am part of this bipartisan group. We're called the G20. It's 10 Democrats and 10 Republicans, obviously very humble since they've named themselves the G20. But we're working together to find bipartisan solutions to these challenges that we face in our country. And I'm going to keep doing my part by setting an example and showing over and over again that it can be done.
Senator, you had mentioned in your overview the infrastructure plan. You know, the Biden administration just recently released the American Jobs Plan, and specifically to talk about infrastructure development. Can you just talk about your thoughts around it and what you'd like to see, how you'd like to see that play out?
Well, there is bipartisan agreement that infrastructure investment, when done correctly, can expand economic opportunities for our economy, can create jobs and boost our economy. So the plan that was released by the administration represents a very broad framework. And now Congress is going to start its work. They're going to start by working through their committees. I fully support a bipartisan negotiated process to move forward on infrastructure investment. And in Arizona, of course, for us, that means more than just repairing roads and bridges. We also have to invest in broadband and water infrastructure. These two things are really important for our state. And we also have to make sure that we're using this opportunity to rebuild infrastructure in our country as a way to make sure that communities and families stay connected, right? This will create an opportunity for families to visit their loved ones, for new businesses to open their doors, for veterans to get access to telemedicine, for kids to learn in safe schools. I'm really lucky that I serve on both the Senate Banking and the Senate Commerce committees, and each of these two committees will be integral in the process moving forward. So I'll pledge, this is no surprise, I'll pledge to work across the aisle and stay connected with all of you to make sure that we're communicating Arizona's priorities on infrastructure to the administration, as well as a strong commitment to solving this in a bipartisan way.
So do you think the working relationship between Congress and the Biden administration will allow that, trying to forge that bipartisanship to get this over the finish line?
Well, you know, Joe Biden has a long history of serving the United States Senate. And I know that he knows how to work in a bipartisan way. He was known as someone who liked to work together and make deals during his time, both as senator and his time as vice president. So if he decides he wants to do this in a bipartisan way, he will get to. Now, regardless of the administration's approach, I've decided that I'm going to do this in a bipartisan way. And so that means that we'll definitely be doing this in a bipartisan way, right? Like, I'm in frequent contact with the White House. I'm in frequent contact with leadership of both political parties. And I highlight the priorities for Arizona. And I also highlight that process is important for us. Doing this in a bipartisan way, following regular order, is absolutely what needs to happen in order for us to do this successfully.
Senator, I know you're on a very tight schedule, but there's a couple of folks are very interested in looking at what are the, getting your perspective on what are the top issues affecting Arizona, specifically Arizona's business community, and what you think we need to start do to resolve them.
Well, I think the number one issue facing Arizona's business community is the economic recovery from the pandemic. Right now, Arizona businesses, employers, employees are looking to elected officials to make smart decisions now that will fuel a full economic recovery. For us in Arizona, that means small businesses. Small businesses are the backbone of our economic engine in Arizona. And we've got to support small businesses and the tourism industry. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, our restaurant industry. So we know that local tourism businesses generate billions of dollars of revenue for our state. We know that they've also taken a significant and difficult hit during the coronavirus pandemic. And that's why I fought so hard in this last pandemic COVID relief bill to ensure that tourism and outdoor recreation businesses get help, the restaurant bill to get help, and the Save Our Stages bill that gets help to our entertainment industry. So we're right now pushing the Small Business Administration to implement all three of those provisions. And I've also reached out to let our local chambers know, as well as our state chamber know, that any business that needs help accessing any of the resources, whether it's the extension of the PPP loans or whether it's any of these new facilities that have been established to help them, that our office can help navigate who's eligible, how to get access to those resources. And we want to make sure that this relief gets out to businesses as quickly as possible. So I think that's our number one issue. You know, the way I talk about it with small businesses, Jamie, is I say, like, it's not just so much about, can you make it through the pandemic? It's, are you strong enough and resilient enough that you can grow and expand your business as we come out of this pandemic? It's not just enough to survive. You also have to be able to thrive and grow. And we want to make sure that we've created not just a business climate, but all the support and structure that's needed to help businesses do that work of growing and thriving as we come out of this pandemic.
Well, Senator, as I said before, I know you have a very tight schedule, and we do appreciate your opportunity to take some time and talk with us. Any closing comments you'd like to add, and as you move forward?
Well, it's been a really tough year, and no one knows that better than the folks who are on this call. We're heading out of this time, and I think we can all kind of see a light at the end of the tunnel. But what I continue to think about every day is how we have amazing opportunities in Arizona. We are a state that is well positioned to recover from this pandemic. We are well positioned because of our resiliency, our ability to pivot, and frankly, our grit. And so I see the opportunity for Arizona and frankly for the Southwest just rising in our nation's importance. And I want to just let you all know that I intend to be a partner as we begin to rise from this and grow and move forward. And I encourage everyone to consider me and my team as your personal concierge in helping get the help that you need as we come out of this pandemic. And I couldn't be more proud and more privileged to represent all of you in Arizona as Arizona's senior senator in the U.S. Senate. And I'd encourage you to reach out to us. Don't ever think to yourself, Kirsten's office is too busy, because we're not. We are busy, but we have all the time that is needed to help anyone, any business, any person, any family during this time, because I want us to come out of this stronger than we went into it.
Well, Senator, again, thank you so much. We're going to let you go because I know you got to run and do many things for us. So thank you again.
It's my pleasure, you guys. Thank you so much.
So to all of you, thank you on behalf of the Greater Phoenix Chamber Board of Directors, our Public Affairs Committee, and of course, the State Society of Arizona. We really do appreciate you joining us today. We'll be continuing to do these forums, and so thank you for signing in. Thank you much.